Hello, everyone. Today, let's talk about motorcycle structures and repair knowledge. First, we'll take a look at these 6 cases below. You might encounter them in the future. How would you handle that? This is what you need to learn. Let's take a look. Last year, a motorcycle owner in Hsinchu bought a used bike. He agreed to a 3-month warranty period. However, the motorcycle has always had issues. Let's see what really happened in this news. May I ask if you've ever had your vehicle repaired and ended up exploding? I truly think it's possible for repairs to lead to an explosion. This incident is quite outrageous. Here's some footage from the surveillance camera. The mechanic was halfway through the repairs when the wheel suddenly exploded with a flash. Parts immediately shot up into the skate ramp. It even affected the roadside. The mechanic's hand was also cut and bleeding. This scene is terrifying to watch. But what's even more confusing for the owner is why a motorcycle repair would lead to an explosion, since I bought it. It's been less than 5 months, and the motorcycle has continuously had problems. Buying this bike has been really unfortunate for me. The owner alleged that last December, he bought this 6-year-old used motorcycle from the shop for 30,000 NTD. The shop verbally promised a 3-month warranty. Unexpectedly, the motorcycle frequently broke down. This time, the repair even resulted in an explosion. It made him question the mechanic's skills. He said that the repair costs would be split equally. But why should I split it equally? If you damaged other parts, why should I bear those costs? We have reasonable doubts that his vehicle has been to other shops for further modifications. However, there's no evidence. The shop claims innocence, saying they helped the owner with free repairs for 6 months. In the meantime, the motorcycle was also involved in an accident and fell. The value of the replaced parts has already exceeded 10,000 NTD. During the repair process, they also found obvious traces of repairs from other shops. They suspect the owner had someone modify it, which caused the explosive accident. We are also willing to continue providing him with free repairs. We just hope that Mr. Luo and his friends won't come back again. Initially, they hoped the owner would bear half of the repair costs, around 4,000 NTD, along with compensation for the destroyed shop. But the owner didn't accept. Now the shop has given up on everything. They just hope that after this free repair, the other party won't come back. Mira needs your support. Subscribe to Mira. Because we are not the parties involved, we don't fully understand the entire case. We haven't seen the items. We just want to provide a reference for everyone. So when buying a vehicle in the future, please pay attention to what is essential. Next, this is another case. What's the title here? Motorcycle repairs cost 68,000 NTD. For 27,800 NTD, you can buy a new bike. Right? What were you unable to accomplish? This is also something everyone needs to learn. Let's take a look. What kind of accident leads to motorcycle repairs costing 68,000 NTD, enough to buy a brand new bike of the same model? Unexpectedly, the other party owner later requested 17,000 NTD in compensation. Then, a repair quote for 68,000 NTD arrived, requiring the male student to pay another 20,000 NTD. The student found this unreasonable. Therefore, he rejected this claim. This is unacceptable. Why is there a need to repair the gearbox? The shop owner looked at the repair quote and exclaimed it's unreasonable. 13 items, totaling 68,650 NTD this year. This price could buy a brand new motorcycle of the same model. I find that quite unreasonable. The student collided with the rear right side of the front vehicle. The front vehicle tilted to the left, and both parties visually assessed it on the spot. License plate, exhaust pipe, right rear light, and fairings had initial damage. However, neither reported the incident, aiming for a private resolution. Later, the other party, however, began to claim against the male student. In the first 2 instances, he agreed to cover the cost for the exhaust pipe and 8 other items. The student paid 17,200 NTD. But this 68,000 NTD quote? To get to that amount, the vehicle would probably be completely totaled. It might be better to just buy a new bike. They're just looking at the exterior. And that's the exhaust. I feel there were many things, but we didn't report it at the time. That was my oversight. The other party continued to send repair photos. NR. Prove you've changed the engine. Asking a lion's share from him. The car owner tells the male student, engine damage caused by oil leakage. Cylinder repair estimate is 68,650 yuan. Wants him to pay 20,000. Netizens say it's a good time to modify. Change the engine himself. Find someone to fund it. He said it's because the oil leaked down, causing him. What was it that caused him to have a shrinkage? That's impossible. I find the repair unreasonable. It can't be repaired the first time. I'll repair it again the second time. Impossible. So there's definitely an issue here. Upon careful inspection of the estimate from the other party, there's no official stamp from the car dealership. Major problems, lawyer advises. If you encounter a car accident, you should report it to the police. If the compensation price can't be negotiated, you can seek third-party mediation. Never just think about settling with money. After watching this news, we know one thing. No matter how big or small the car accident is, you must call the police to avoid future complications. The key point of this video is good. Now let's take a look at the next one. Mr. Yu Huiluo's scooter suddenly stalled in Kaohsiung, so it was towed to the repair shop across the street. Because they were about to close, they left the vehicle there. The next day, it was all disassembled. After sending the beloved car for service, the body and parts were all taken off. The car owner accuses the shop owner of failing to inform. He was so angry that he asked a friend to take the car away, because you didn't explain in detail to the customer first. What aspect had issues? You just guessed. Because he guessed without asking, he said, "Why do I have to pay this extra 2,000? Mr. Lowe's beloved car suddenly stalled on the night of January 7th. What exactly does he owe to the motorcycle shop near his home? Because it was about to close. He left the car there first. As a result, when he arrived at the shop the next day, he was shocked to find the car's engine had been removed. He accused the shop of not informing him beforehand, and now has to pay 2,000 yuan for the reduction fee. Angry, he posted online, warning everyone to be cautious. He wants to say that back then he asked me to lend him 300,000. 200,000, 100,000, would he just ask for 2,000 more like you? 3,000, there's 10,000 here, 15,000, 18,000. But he didn't mention details, did he? Yeah, he didn't say. The shop's repair quote lacked details. Just a rough estimate. The car owner feels cheated and has accusations. The car shop owner has something to say too. Anyway, the photo shows you got up this morning. The result is this junkyard needs to be left here. Check whether you need to yield when the cars have all stopped. I know the other party would do that. Mr. Lowe's car was ultimately repaired at a friend's shop. The boss said it needs checking. Actually, it doesn't need to be disassembled. Like this, its steel support pressure is insufficient. Mr. Lowe's car tested later shows insufficient pressure after the engine was disassembled. Confirmed it's the steel head leaking air, which is the reason the car won't start. Instrument testing shows it needs to be completely dismantled. We will first roughly provide a price estimate. If you agree, then I will proceed with this action. Just like this, before maintenance, it's essential to communicate with the car owner, including maintenance items and quotations. They must all be made clear. The accused motorcycle shop simply did not inform beforehand and proceeded to disassemble the motorcycle, which caused consumer disputes. Dongshan News Comprehensive Report. Next, let's take a look at this. This is similar, also selling. Used car water leakage after the leak. Replacing parts cost over 90,000, but the car still couldn't move. So what was the result? They countered the car owner with malice. Just to resolve this tens of thousands, it requires more time to deal with. Worth it or not, that's for everyone to decide. Now let's understand what the detailed situation is like. Similarly, we don't express who is right or wrong because we are not the parties involved, as there are some details. Everyone says he has his good side. No one mentions his bad side. A lot of things are the same, you know? This also has to remind you all. In the future, when you look at things and listen to things, you have to see both sides. Let's take a look. The ultimate ride isn't half bad. The rider is trembling this time. The exhaust is puffing out thick white smoke. The bike sometimes starts and sometimes doesn't respond. It broke down again. The car owner can't take it anymore because this is already his ninth time sending it for repairs. Same shop, fixed again and again. He claims the bike still has issues. I've probably gone back and forth from the end of February to around mid-May. I can't even count how many times because so much has happened before. I don't trust him at all anymore. This used motorcycle, CBR 250, is said to be under the cursed area. More than 2 years ago, Mr. Rao bought it for over 300,000 yuan. It's now already a 6-year-old ride, he says. In February this year, the radiator started leaking and was smoking when delivered to a fellow rider, introduced to a repair shop. Little did he know, this was just the beginning of a nightmare. Previously, he had it fixed 5 or 6 times in total, including changing internal engine parts and modifying the computer, spending over 90,000 pounds. Yet it still wasn't fixed. He requested the shop to cover maintenance costs, plus a depreciation value of 100,000. A total of 200,000 was rejected. He told me, "You see a doctor." But the illness doesn't get better. Would you demand compensation from the doctor? When I heard this, I found it very puzzling. I want to say it's my attitude problem. Today, whether I'm in a good mood or bad, I emphasized to him, "I'll help you get the bike back, I'll sort it out for you, even if it's on this matter. You come over to blackmail me, because in my eyes this is blackmail. You want me to buy your entire bike, and still at a normal market price. I believe that's unreasonable. After all, it's a used bike. The shop strongly denies and clarifies. Every time Mr. Rao raises a concern about the bike having issues, they will take it back to dismantle and check. The owner has been running a shop in Kaohsiung for 5 or 6 years, and has also formed a team for training. For racing, he is very confident in his motorcycle expertise. Both parties failed to reach an agreement again. Next, they might have to go to court and let a fair third party decide who's right and wrong. Alright, finally, let's take a look. This part is even more interesting. Bought a rare variety of motorcycle. And what happened? It got crushed by a tree. The repair cost is 120,000, but the state compensation only pays 10,000. So why did he go through all this trouble? This also relates to your future, in case your bike has issues, and how compensation works. And there are a lot of comments below too. You can come in and take a look. Okay, let's watch this video. Heavy hammer strikes down. The motorcycle parked on the red line was crushed. The frame bent, motorcycle severely damaged. The ground is wet, all covered in shattered stones, fallen leaves. Even the power lines were damaged. It affected traffic for a while. The owner works nearby, parked the motorcycle by the roadside, and after work saw this terrible sight. The wrecked bike is pitiful, turned into scrap metal, leaving him heartbroken. The vehicle, a limited edition imported from France. The owner states there are fewer than 100 in Taiwan. Quite precious, rare. However, applying for state compensation only covers 10,000. The accident location is near Zhonghua Road in the Hsinchu mountainous area. Although it was raining, construction was halted along the roadside. But the owner angrily criticizes that the large tree wasn't properly supported, which caused it to fall and crush the motorcycle. After getting it appraised at the shop, the total repair cost soared to nearly 120,000. It's been over a month since the accident. Even the used test drive costs at least £90,000 buys, but the site insurance only compensates about 10%. This motorcycle is extremely rare in Taiwan. It is a rare model, so buying this kind of car, his future repairs will be very inconvenient. And very expensive since it's an import. So all his parts need to be imported from abroad. If imported from abroad, there are many tariffs and shipping costs and related fees. When he comes to Taiwan, of course the repairs will be costly. The owner thinks it's his own fault. Innocent, just fine. A limited edition. A car, usually regularly waxed and maintained. Never had an accident. Now encountering unexpected misfortune. He also has to pay for the repair costs himself. At the time of the incident, the manufacturer was handling original material operations. But due to a late-night snack, heavy rain, and strong winds causing tree falls, the insurance company initially estimated the compensation amount to be over 10,000. The main reason is that this motorcycle is already 7 years old. However, the owner believes the motorcycle's original price is over 120,000, but the repair costs reached over 110,000 pounds. Therefore, he demands compensation for a new motorcycle price. Now, the insurance company and the owner are still negotiating. The two sides still have no consensus. Check the motorcycle before going out. Wear protective gear for safety. Check the helmet, check the windbreak. Check that the motorcycle functions are all okay. Relax shoulders, keep feet flat. Knees bend naturally. Riding a motorcycle is so easy. Remember to stop at red lights and turn in the waiting area. Follow the 2-stage left turn rule. Obey traffic rules, yield to pedestrians, don't speed, don't drink and drive. Happy driving, safe travels. Uh-huh. Due to motorcycles being economical, convenient, and easy to learn, they can be seen everywhere in Taiwan. But because of their easy-to-drive nature, riders often overlook the correct riding methods, which increases danger. Unlike cars, motorcycles don't have a hard shell, so both the rider and the vehicle are easily affected by external environments, like windy weather or rain, or poor road conditions. All of these can lead to a decrease in motorcycle stability. The likelihood of accidents also increases. Once an accident occurs, riders often suffer serious consequences from direct impact. Many motorcycle accidents are caused by rider violations, such as running red lights, riding against traffic to maintain a safe driving distance, speeding. These violations of traffic laws often result in unimaginable consequences. In the past 2 years in Taiwan, an average of around 400 traffic accidents with injuries or fatalities occur daily. Among them, about 520 people get injured each day due to traffic accidents. Approximately 12 people die as a result. Therefore, motorcycle riders should drive cautiously. Don't let regrets happen to themselves or their families. Every rider should develop the good habit of regular motorcycle maintenance and pre-ride checks. To detect problems early. And improve promptly to prevent accidents. Below are the daily motorcycle inspection items. Check if there is enough gasoline. Check the color, viscosity, and oil level of engine and gear oil. Check the tires, paying attention to whether tire pressure is normal. Check if the tread depth is sufficient. Check for cracks, damage, or abnormal wear on the exterior. Check the engine, noting the sound when starting. Low-speed operation and acceleration should be normal. Check the brakes. Pay attention to the regular speed, which should be 1 to 2 centimeters. Check if the brake line has any external damage. Check if there's enough brake fluid. Check if the brakes function well. Check if the brake fluid for the disc brakes is sufficient. Check the lights, paying attention to the headlight. Turn signals. Brake lights and function of reflector light. To see if they're bright and normal. Check the battery, noting if the battery is loose. Check if the terminals are rusted. Check if the security bolts are loose. Check if the security labels are in consistent positions. Check if the horn functions normally. Before riding every day, check the 3 key parts that directly affect riding safety. That is, the brakes, lights, and tires. Also, check that there's enough gasoline, at least for 1 day's usage. After everything is checked properly, only then can you depart, because the brighter the color of clothing. The higher the recognition of the rider. Therefore, riders should wear high-visibility clothing, like white, pink, yellow, etc. Pink, yellow, etc. Especially when riding at night. You should wear clothing with reflective designs. This significantly enhances riding safety. Riders should wear helmets when riding motorcycles. Safety helmets must be worn. Protective gloves and fully covering shoes are essential. When purchasing a helmet, choose one with impact absorption features, and that has passed inspection or certification markers. Do not use helmets that have suffered severe impacts, or helmets that have lost their impact absorption ability. It is also absolutely unacceptable to remove the inner layer for ventilation purposes. After wearing the helmet and fastening the buckle, there should be enough space for one finger to fit between the chin strap and your chin. If it is too tight, it may be uncomfortable for the head. If it is too loose, the helmet may fall off during an accident, increasing the risk of head injury. Protective gear can block strong winds, dust, or insects, preventing disturbances to the eyes. This way, the rider can concentrate on riding the motorcycle. Wear gloves that allow for easy finger movement, and gloves with grip can protect the hands. Avoid sweat making them slippery, which could hinder better throttle and brake control. However, do not install fixed windproof covers on the handlebars to avoid hindering your control of the vehicle. Riders should wear shoes that cover the entire foot, and preferably robust shoes, to avoid foot injuries or dangers caused by slippery soles. Comprehensive protective gear is a fundamental measure for rider safety. When riding a motorcycle, we must wear complete protective gear. When starting the motorcycle, eyes should focus ahead. Collect all information about what's in front. Shoulders should be relaxed. Elbows should be slightly bent and leaning slightly towards the body. The upper body should lean slightly forward. Without exerting force, lightly grip the handlebars. Keep your hands about a foot apart at the front. To facilitate access to the braking lever, thighs should gently touch the seat. Knees should be naturally bent, maintaining about 10 centimeter distance from the front storage box. Feet should rest flat on the foot pegs. Toes point forward, slightly inward. Motorcycles with fixed rear seats can carry one passenger. Passengers must wear helmets. Passengers should align their bodies parallel to the rider. They cannot sit sideways. To maintain balance while riding, both hands should clasp around the rider's waist. Knees should gently press against the rider's thighs. Feet should rest flat on the rear foot pegs. Maintain a relaxed posture. Riders should gather traffic information while driving. After careful thought and judgment, the time needed to reach a decision and take action is called reaction time. The distance traveled during this time is called the reaction distance. Subsequently, the distance covered from when the vehicle starts to slow down until it completely stops is called the braking distance. The total stopping distance includes both the reaction distance and the braking distance. Therefore, to maintain a safe distance, it should be based on the braking distance. To avoid rear-ending the vehicle ahead, as the driving speed increases, the reaction distance and braking distance become longer. Therefore, when riding a motorcycle, the safe following distance concept is to always pay attention to the front situation and actions of the vehicle ahead. Maintain a distance that allows for immediate braking. In adverse weather conditions while riding, a longer distance should be kept from the vehicle ahead. The correct braking method is to first reduce throttle. That is, to bring the throttle back to a non-accelerating state, to allow engine braking to take effect, while simultaneously using both the front and rear brakes, gradually increasing braking force until the vehicle comes to a complete stop. In special situations, if emergency braking is needed, you must immediately reduce throttle and simultaneously use both front and rear brakes. Execute the braking action in one go. Moreover, keep the vehicle upright. Do not lock the wheels to avoid losing control due to skidding. If skidding occurs, reduce braking force until the wheels start to turn again to regain control of the vehicle. Braking methods should also be adjusted according to external conditions, such as road surface conditions. Weather conditions will affect braking operation and effectiveness. When driving on uphill or slippery roads, from now on, prioritize rear brakes. Front brakes serve as a supplement. When going downhill or on dry roads, prioritize front brakes. Rear brakes serve as a supplement. When accelerating, gently twist the grip. This will increase speed smoothly. To decelerate, control speed by easing off the throttle. Use the brakes only when necessary. Never accelerate too quickly. Avoid any behavior of racing. Illegal overtaking has always been a major factor in traffic accidents. Therefore, it is unnecessary. It's best not to overtake. If you must overtake, ensure you have sufficient confidence. First, signal to inform other vehicles. Then overtake quickly on the left side of the front vehicle. Do it in the shortest time possible. Never drive alongside other vehicles, in the same lane continuously, or weave between lanes. When vehicles travel around curves, centrifugal force acts due to inertia. Therefore, drivers and vehicles must lean appropriately to overcome the rational force. As speed increases, the rational force grows. The angle of the driver's body and vehicle must also increase to turn smoothly. If speed is too fast and centrifugal force cannot be overcome, the vehicle will tend to veer outward. Therefore, reduce speed sufficiently before turning, confirm the curve radius, and navigate the turn at an appropriate angle and stable speed. After completing the turn, ensure safety first, then accelerate to straighten the vehicle. However, never brake hard while turning. When riding in the rain due to reduced friction on the road, vehicles are more prone to skid and braking distance increases. Therefore, slow down. Maintain a longer distance from vehicles ahead. When traveling on gravel or uneven surfaces, reduce speed. Keep your body relaxed and move with the vehicle. Lower down to absorb impacts. This reduces the force of impact and maintains stability of the vehicle. The human eye needs time to adapt to changes when facing different brightness conditions. Therefore, when entering and exiting tunnels, it is essential to slow down and proceed carefully. Turn on your headlights to help your eyes adjust. When meeting oncoming vehicles, their lights can cause glare. Therefore, do not use high beams when vehicles are crossing paths. When the driver's eyes are affected by glare, look away from the light source. Additionally, slow down and proceed cautiously. Vision can deteriorate as speed increases. The field of vision also narrows. Thus, drivers should avoid speeding to prevent accidents caused by visual misjudgments. While driving motorcycles, drivers must use the rear-view mirror to assess the situation behind them. Therefore, absolutely do not remove rear-view mirrors. There are also blind spots in sight. So when starting, turning, or changing lanes, turn your head to check the situation behind. Also, avoid entering vehicles' blind spots to prevent danger. Large vehicles moving at high speeds generate air pressure that can attract objects nearby. Therefore, motorcycles should avoid coming close to large vehicles. Do not weave between vehicles. When cars turn, the front and rear wheels follow different paths. On the inner side of the turn, there's a noticeable gap. This is called inner wheel difference. Vehicles with longer wheelbases experience greater inner wheel differences. Therefore, when encountering large vehicles turning, maintain a safe distance from them to avoid being pulled under their wheels. To prevent unfortunate incidents, riding a motorcycle requires awareness of potential crises on the road. For instance, when passing street vendors, signs, large obstacles, or parked cars. Slow down and maintain appropriate distance from them. This prevents blocked lines of sight and collisions with pedestrians or suddenly opening car doors. When traveling on slopes or curves, stay to the right, slow down, and proceed with caution. Stay alert. To avoid colliding with oncoming vehicles due to blind spots. To ride a motorcycle, you must first obtain a driver's license. Keep right and reduce speed, proceed slowly. Stay alert, so you won't collide with oncoming vehicles due to blind spots. Avoid accidents with oncoming cars. To ride a motorcycle, you must first obtain a driver's license. You must be at least 18 years old and pass a medical examination, and pass relevant subject tests. You can then apply for the corresponding motorcycle driver's license. Absolutely do not drive without a license. Follow traffic regulations. It's the first step towards safe driving. Dedicated motorcycle lanes and priority motorcycle lanes are rights of way exclusive to motorcycles. On a two-way road, motorcycles can use the outermost fast and slow lanes. On one-way streets, motorcycles can use the slow lane and the fast lane adjacent to it. If a motorcycle lane is present, cars can use the outer two lanes. On one-way streets, they can use the leftmost or rightmost lanes. Motorcycle waiting zones are where motorcycles stop at red traffic lights. When turning left, use the two-stage turn method. Drive in areas without designated lane markings. Maintain separation lines for driving. Share road space with bicycles. Speed must not exceed 30 km. In the slow lane, it can't exceed 40 km. In roads without slow lanes, be mindful of shared road rights with cyclists and pedestrians. Especially when overtaking them, stay alert. Maintain an appropriate distance from them, and reduce speed to avoid colliding with bicycles that suddenly change direction. When approaching pedestrian crossings with traffic control signals, slow down. When encountering pedestrians, regardless of the presence of a pedestrian crossing or whether there are traffic controllers present, you must stop and let pedestrians pass. When entering an alley, you must reduce speed or stop to check to avoid colliding with suddenly emerging vehicles from the road. Conversely, when driving in an alley, before reaching an intersection, you should slow down or stop in advance. Check thoroughly. Absolutely do not move those turns, actually. To avoid danger. When an emergency vehicle stops, do not park illegally. Do not park in designated spots for persons with disabilities or on bends, narrow roads and entrances to public places, etc. Never park in no parking areas or temporary no parking areas. When driving in traffic, drivers may not use mobile phones. Do not linger while driving and weaving on the road, or only have the rear wheels on the ground, or drive in other dangerous ways. Do not remove the muffler or create noise by other means. Otherwise, you will face very severe penalties. In the event of an accident, drivers must remain calm. If it is only a minor collision, vehicles should be moved to the roadside and reach a settlement with the other party as soon as possible. In the case of a serious accident, first set up warning signs with items on the scene and dial 110 to report the incident. On the call, clearly state the accident location, time, type of vehicles, and circumstances of injuries. If there are no fatalities, use marked items to outline and position the bicycle wheels and handlebars. Finally, move the vehicles to the roadside and wait for the police to arrive. If there are injuries or fatalities, immediately assist the injured or call 199 for rescue, but do not arbitrarily move the accident vehicles or evidence at the scene. Only if the injured parties agree can the vehicles be moved to the side of the road. When the police handle the scene, they must verify whether the relevant records are correct before signing. This is to safeguard your rights. Absolutely do not leave the scene. Otherwise, you will face penalties, such as suspension of your license or criminal penalties. Follow the 5 key tips for safe driving. Look up ahead to increase safety distance. Monitor your surroundings and keep track of movements on both sides. Keep your eyes moving and survey your environment. Assess your surroundings and leave a safe exit route. Reality checks, anticipate driving movements. Riding safely is the easiest. Don't forget to check your vehicle, wear protective gear, and comply with regulations. Stay away from dangerous incidents for a joyful ride. Safe travels and return home safely. After watching this video, it discusses the content inside. After watching this video, it discusses the content about safety inspection items. Also, pre-ride checks. The driver's outfit and color. What impact will it have on us? Also, the function of accessories. How to properly wear a safety helmet. Alright, 5th, safe riding posture. 6th, operation of brakes. 7th, safe turning attempts and also potential dangers and countermeasures. 9th, specifically some regulations for drivers. Lastly, we also discussed accident handling. I hope all you trainees remember this after watching the video. It should be firmly ingrained in your minds. Okay, next up, let's look at this dispute. Let's understand a bit about it. Analyze it. The person just finished changing the tires. Not long after, he rode back, saying there are strange sounds from the rear wheel. To find out the cause, the mechanic simply took off the tire for inspection. It was found that the strange noise came from the rear end of the vehicle, a part of the drive clutch plate, caused by aging of the bearing. Perhaps regular maintenance was lacking, oil was present, cured inside, causing this issue. But no matter how the mechanic explained, the customer seemed unable to accept it. He emphasized that there was no abnormal sound before changing the tires, demanding that the shop take responsibility, asking why the tires were changed. Changing tires. Replacing tires, if the tires fail, this is just a rotation. There's no such thing as reverse issues. I don't care what he installed. It's useless to call. A motorcycle shop located in Taoyuan. Recently, a man came to change the rear tire, left without any issues. But 5 minutes later, he said the rear wheel had strange sounds. The installation process at the shop had issues. The mechanic checked the rear wheel on site, informed that the problem was with the drive clutch plate on the left side of the tire, but the man couldn't accept it. He left a negative review afterward, making the shop quite angry. Changing tires and clutch plates have no relation. It doesn't matter. What he wanted was no noise. I replied to him that it was impossible to have no issues with you. There was dirt present, or the bearing itself had problems, emitting a sound from the drive. The clutch plate is part of the motorcycle's transmission system, located on the left side of the rear wheel, mainly controls the rear belt components. Similar to the rear chainring of a bicycle, it's a consumable. The vehicle will wear out over a certain mileage. Plus, without maintenance, it will deteriorate, producing abnormal sounds. Typically, a shop would recommend replacing the clutch plate or the entire assembly. The assembly costs about 2,000 to 3,000. The shop stated that if it was their fault, they would be willing to admit it, but if the customer insists, they would absolutely not accept unreasonable requests. Dongshan News reported from Taoyuan. After watching this news, why did the instructor show this segment to everyone? Because you may encounter this in the future. However, let's talk about this from a fair perspective. The motorcycle shop owner, he shouldn't really say. His experience is somewhat lacking. No need to mention changing tires. After the car shop owner signs in, he will first check the brakes. Check the tires. Everything is checked thoroughly. Also this tire, they will shake it a bit, to examine it loosely. If the bearing we mentioned earlier is already worn out, shaking during movement will show gaps emerging. It will shake back and forth, making riding the motorcycle unstable. Because they didn't do this. The customer just left it there and walked away. This created a need for rescue. Earlier, they mentioned a thing called a bearing. So what is a bearing? In Mandarin, it's called a ball bearing, with balls added inside the rollers. So your hand can operate. Many mechanical devices have this. This thing has a layer of grease applied inside. In our Southern Min dialect, grease is called milk oil for lubrication, and if it rolls for a long time, will it wear out? Yes, it will wear out. It will indeed wear out. After wear, it will shake and wobble. Unusual sounds will emerge. The grease inside will also deteriorate. If you don't replace it after a long time, it will also go bad. This is actually a consumable item. All right, let's take a look. Let's have a look. What is a bearing? Okay. Let's click in to see. Is there something called a bearing? The making of a bearing. This is the bearing we're talking about. We call this white bearing bone. Do you see the white bearing bone? Because there are many types, big and small. Many kinds, huh? I don't see them. As long as there's something that rolls, it needs to be installed in this tire. The same goes for machinery. It all requires this item. Various sizes, many types, many types. Because the internet is very convenient, we can search a bit about bearing manufacturing. It offers many options. Okay, this is the bearing we talked about earlier. Because I forgot about bearings. You might not have heard of these things, because it's quite a specialized topic. In our field of machinery, many types are applied. Every piece of machinery uses them. Now let's look further down. Okay, next we have our subjects. Inside there is a preface, along with motorcycle classifications. Also basic structures of motorcycles. Basic operation of cars and motorcycle inspection and maintenance. The motorcycle inspection and routine maintenance is what we just discussed in the video. It's already very detailed, so let's take a quick look. Okay, the preface tells us that motorcycles are widely used in Taiwan because they're convenient and also not expensive. A single bike can last for decades without issues, if well maintained. Could last even longer. So it's quite good. In Taiwan, there are a lot of motorcycles because they are so convenient. Very convenient. Do we know exactly how many motorcycles are in Taiwan? Let's take a look. Let's check it out. We click in and have a look. This is from the Ministry of Transport's website for vehicle quarantine data. Do you see? The instructor has made a link. Since the 77th year of the Republic up to this year. Let's scroll down. Do you see? In the 113th year? This is quite scary. Let's look at this time. Do you see? Total number of motor vehicles, which includes cars and motorcycles. The total count is Tony 383 927 vehicles, and this side shows an increase. The percentage has increased by 121%. As for cars, there are 8,313 of them. But motorcycles, it's even scarier. There are 14,549. That means for every 100 people, there's 99 motorcycles. Almost one per person. With so many vehicles, there will be many accidents occurring. Taiwan's area won't expand, will it grow? But the number of vehicles keeps increasing. Parking for cars is also an issue. If there are many people, riding motorcycles can be quite dangerous. And that leads to many situations. Now, let's look further down. Motorcycle classification. Let's take a brief look. They are classified by displacement or horsepower. This one is small, light motorcycles. This is electric vehicles. And it tells us here that horsepower is less than 134 HP, or the maximum speed is below 45 km. The license plate will have red text on a white background. This one is categorized as normal. Insurance is something we often see. Below 50 cc with cc numbers, the electric vehicle part is for those under 5 horsepower. Those below 50 cc with cubic centimeters. The electric ones are below 5 horsepower. That's over 13 horsepower. And the speed? Over 45. That's green base. What about the white lettered electric one? It has electric vehicle display. Lightweight micro-electric vehicle. It can have mandatory liability insurance. What is mandatory liability insurance? Mandatory liability insurance covers injury medical expenses after an accident. And if there's a death? It's 2 million. It's 2 million. What if it's a disability? It has levels that still needs classification. How does the coach know? Because the coach's wife had a car accident. I know this can be a troublesome matter. If we have the opportunity, we'll discuss it again. Okay, let's watch this video for a bit. Honey, let's switch to an electric bike. No need for a license plate then. Wrong! Your information is outdated. It's outdated, right? Electric bikes have been renamed micro-electric two-wheelers. Besides needing a license plate, you also need to ensure mandatory automobile liability insurance. If the owner doesn't renew insurance after 6 months, the license will be cancelled. How do you know all this? I'm a good road user. Micro-electric two-wheelers also require mandatory automobile liability insurance. Driving safety is more guaranteed. Okay, this is the new regulation for the year 111. All right, let's continue. Regular heavy motorcycles, which we can generally see on the road, are between 50cc and 250s. And the license plate? It's white base with black lettering. And what about electric vehicles? It has the electric vehicle display. Large motorcycles have bigger exhausts. Usually, we can see that the plate is yellow. Yellow plate large motorcycles are from 250cc to below 550cc. Their engines exceed 40 horsepower. Large motorcycles have red plates. Generally red plates. That refers to motorcycles over 550cc. Horsepower above 54. If classified by fuel use, gasoline vehicles are divided into 2 types. One type is the commonly seen cross type. Generally, that is the gear motorcycle. And there's also another type, the step-through motorcycle, which has 2 types. Generally speaking, the cross rider can change gears. Okay, this is the step-through motorcycle. Commonly known as scooters, right? Scooters have continuous variable transmission. If you let go, it slows down. No need to shift gears. Therefore, it's more convenient. Currently, electric vehicles are also divided into 2 types. One is the rechargeable type. You have to ride the motorcycle there, plug it in to charge. The other type is the exchange type. Exchange type, like cartridges. When out of power, pull it out to charge. Install the fully charged battery first. So it's more convenient. More convenient indeed. Here it shows. The cost of charging stations is relatively low. And the fixed batteries are not easily moved, collided, or damaged. Safety is generally higher. Currently, at present, rechargeable motorcycles have a longer waiting time because you have to wait for the charging time. You can't just swap out and leave. So there are pros and cons. Let's take a look. No, this is the charging room at the charging station. Motorcycles need to charge over there. The other type doesn't need that. Swapping batteries is simply more convenient. More convenient now. See, these are the batteries we often see at many service stations. Okay, now let's take a quick look at the basic structure of vehicles. Specifically, gasoline vehicles, fuel vehicles. Okay, let's take a look at the appearance. We can take a rough look. Okay, let's look at the exterior. We'll roughly take a look. Just take a quick look, it's like this. The handle is to adjust the direction. It controls the direction of the vehicle's movement. So where's the gas pedal? The gas pedal is on our right side here. Do you see the right handle? What about the rear view mirror? It's used for starting off, turning, overtaking, changing lanes. And while driving, we always need to keep an eye on the traffic behind us to reduce traffic accidents. The rear view mirror also has blind spots. We need to look back to check the situation behind us. I want to remind everyone, this cannot be removed. This must be here. Now, let's talk about headlights. They are divided into axle-type lights and headlights. Axle-type lights and headlights. Some configurations may not include them. There is a big headlight. The headlight has high beam and low beam switches. It's here, the high beam is the blue indicator light. If turned off, it's just the low beam. Let's look at this diagram. Above, it's the high beam. The inner blue light is on. At night, the projection angle is higher. During the day, it can still be seen. It's brighter then. The low beam has a lower angle. That angle is lower, and the brightness is not as strong. We can tell from the appearance. Next, let's talk about turn signals. This part tells us, whether you're turning left or right, you need to signal 30 meters before making the turn. But signaling doesn't mean you're definitely turning. You need to make sure that there's a safe distance from vehicles behind you. After you turn, will it affect vehicles approaching from behind? So, all trainees, please remember, signaling doesn't mean you can just turn left or right. You also need to confirm the safe distance. The tail lights and brake lights. The tail lights light up when you turn them on. The brake lights light up when you use the brakes. Yes, this is the brake light. And the tail light. This is the bulb. The headlight bulb, the headlight bulb. Generally, there are two filament types. Two filament types. Because the low beam has a filament. For the low beam, one filament is off. So only one light is on. Therefore, it's a bit dimmer. The high beam is brighter since both filaments are activated. Next, the brake light. The brake light also has two filaments. When the small light is on, it's on, right? And when you press the brake, it becomes even brighter with the other light. It will be brighter. The turn signal has only one bulb. This part of the bulb. I want to remind all trainees. However, before changing the bulb, you need to remove the original broken bulb. Then take it to the materials shop to compare. You shouldn't just buy randomly. If you buy randomly, you'll have to make an extra trip. Got it? It's the same with everything you do. When something's broken, you need to replace the part. You need to take the part. Then you can buy it and use it at home. This also needs to be reminded to all trainees. This is something you can change yourself. Now this is about the fuel cap. Most of the time they are quite similar. Just take a quick look and that's good. Then it's the motorcycle's ignition part. Just turn the key. Now the design of this motorcycle also includes hooks for helmets. The motorcycle's port section. Just turn the key to open. All right, the design of this motorcycle also includes a helmet hook. In front, there are two hooks here, the type of vehicle. Different designs will have different results. Next, the tools that come with the vehicle. Regular motorcycles only come with these. There are only these two tools. This is called a socket. A socket. What do we need to guess? To remove the spark plug, we need to ignite that spark plug, and there's also this one. This tool is like a flat screwdriver. And there's also a crosshead screwdriver. Only these two tools are available. Well, this is for checking the spark plug. Just a basic understanding is fine. Why? Because we don't need to take it apart. We let the maintenance shop handle the disassembly. If you need to see the spark plug, you have to remove the casing. If you dismantle the casing, you won't be able to put it back together later. So it's enough for us to know. I don't recommend you students guess at this. All right, let's take a look at the next one. This is the news, and he said, battery belt spark plug. The 3 major parts that often get you ripped off. Let's see what he talked about. How does that help us? What gets ripped off the most? It's the spark plug in the motorcycle. Sometimes it's just rain. It gets wet. Actually, it can still be used. Or the battery, it can actually be recharged. Or this belt might just have a small crack. And then there are the tires. If there's a flat, it can actually be repaired, but general customers can't differentiate between good and bad. Many mechanics rely on their old experience and tell you that it's broken. It can't be used. You need to replace it, often charging you a hefty fee. But the public actually has ways to protect themselves. We have a multimeter. This is still a low charge. So this level of charge means it couldn't be used even after charging. That's when we would recommend changing it. Additionally, there's also the risk of being ripped off regarding this. It's about material quality, because it's hard for the public to discern normal from defective. For example, this battery, the genuine one costs 1,000 yuan, but the aftermarket one only costs 600. That's almost a double price difference. The genuine one is made by the original manufacturer. Its lifespan is relatively longer. Moreover, it operates better. The aftermarket ones are generally made by others. Therefore, parts like belts, batteries, or tires often get compared for prices by customers. Nowadays, many car dealers have also established fixed pricing targets. As long as it's a certified shop, they must quote according to the prices set. With professional instruments and a fixed price list, it gives consumers more security, preventing them from being ripped off. This is the position of the battery. The location can vary. Some are located near the footrest. What we need to pay attention to here is that this type of battery does not need checking or refilling with distilled water. However, it is necessary to check the condition of the battery terminals. If needed, make sure to tighten them. It's this screw that can come loose. Do not attempt to remove the sealing cover from the terminal. Doing so will permanently damage the battery. Now, when starting the vehicle's engine, if you feel like the starter motor is sluggish, then the battery needs to be checked. It should be addressed. He also emphasizes here that when starting the engine, if you feel the starter motor is running slowly, you need to go to a garage for processing to avoid insufficient voltage, causing the engine not to start. Regarding the dashboard is located on both sides, in the middle of the handlebars. Let's take a look. For this motorcycle, it will show the speedometer, clock, engine fault warning light, fuel gauge, oil change reminder, trip. For most of these items, he has noted here that when the engine fault light is on, you should return to the car shop for a checkup to see if there are any anomalies. If the interior light bulb light is on, you should return to the shop for vehicle maintenance. This is regarding the kickstand. The kickstand needs to support the vehicle. You need to be cautious, especially. For instance, if the ground isn't very firm, when parking, you need to pay attention. Regarding the tires, of course, there are the front tires and rear tires. Currently, some vehicles also have 2 front tires. Riding a motorcycle means accelerating. The power to accelerate, when releasing the throttle, translates to braking. Effectively, transferred to the ground, making the vehicle move when in action. Communicate to the ground so the vehicle. During the action, there will be traction and automatic thrust. The most important thing is still the ability to support weight. The functional tire tread provides comfort while riding. It has drainage capabilities to prevent the vehicle from losing control and skidding on standing water. This is very important. Okay, this is the Taiwanese part of the tire. There are 4 numbers on top. 1519 represents the year 2019. The tire's produced in the 15th week. This also needs a careful look. Next, let's look at what a front tire is. Sunny tires, B tires, and hot melt tires. Semi-hot melt tires, composite tires. This is very detailed. Let's take a look. What exactly is he greedy for? Wow, it looks like the rear tire has blown. Quickly move it to the motorcycle shop. Show it to the boss. Dad, it looks like my tire has blown. Yeah, let me help you check it out. Basically, let the shop boss make the judgment. That's what it's all about, right? It will depend on the size of the nail that punctured it. Look at the width to see if the repair string can cover the area. If the repair string can't cover too much length and width, then of course this kind of tire cannot be repaired. If it's a nail-type repair string, it should definitely fit. But first, it also depends on the tire's condition. If you use this, it's called a mother block. In terms of timing, it represents the extent of your tire's modification. The main thing is to look at the side. If there's a mother block mark, there will be an arrow here. This triangular arrow. It indicates this area. There will definitely be a model block display. To judge whether the tire should be replaced or not, just look at this. Like this one, it has worn down to the point that the warning line is gone, so it's advised to replace it directly. You don't need to do any repair work anymore, because continuing to repair, to be honest, the thickness of the repair string will be poorer. Moreover, now government regulations require that when worn to this extent, it must be replaced. Otherwise, regulatory agencies will impose fines. Speaking of types of tires, the most common in the market is what's called a persistent tire, feather tire, or there's this type leaning towards sunny and rainy tires. These are the three main types. There's another type, which is called road tires designed for commuting. These treads are relatively sparse. This is known as a flatline tire. It has a larger contact area with the road, compared to feather tires. On the other hand, feather tires are designed for more streamlined performance. They focus on drainage capabilities. Regarding whale tires, they fall in between the two. When looking at tread patterns, the analysis of tread versus tire can clearly distinguish them. The distinction lies in the different types of rubber used. For hot melt tires, their heating speed is quite fast. They have adequate stickiness, but the wear rate is relatively faster. There is also the so-called semi-hot melt series, which addresses the issue of fast wear in hot melt tires. However, their heating performance will be relatively poorer. Then, there's a type called composite tire material, which is designed to be more durable. The side is more aligned with the rubber of hot melt tires, allowing slow wear on the central model. However, the side still has a certain grip. It's better suited for aggressive driving or for riding on mountain roads. They tend to prefer hot melt tires. For example, when considering regular commuting groups, they naturally require longer-lasting tires so that their expenses can be lower. In other words, they may sacrifice a bit of grip. However, the wear resistance will be much better. If you enjoy going out, going uphill, riding in mountainous areas, people will recommend using a leisure series or semi-leisure series tires because they need sufficient grip to avoid losing traction while cornering, which could affect riding safety. First of all, on the tire, there's the name of the country of manufacture. Made in Taiwan, this means it's made in Taiwan. Next, look further down. Here is the so-called assembly direction. Made in Taiwan, this is a Taiwan-made one. Then, let's look further down. Here, there is a so-called assembly direction. It's the distinction of the tire's rolling direction. Like this tire, it's one-directional. So when assembling, you must do it in the direction of the wheel's roll. There will be 4 numbers here. This number, many people are quite curious about. This is called the tire's production. The 2 19s after the date represent the year. The first 2 digits, 19, represents the week. In other words, it's the 19th week of 2019. The tire was produced. There's a C922 stamped here. This indicates the brand of this tire and what its model is. Next to it, there's this row of numbers. This is called the specification table 130. It represents the width of the tread, calculated using mini. Then, the 70 part represents the thickness of the tire. The 12 represents the tire's size. This is called a 12-inch tire. Now the tire has 51 and L. They represent the load capacity, respectively. Or regarding the L part, it represents the maximum speed it can endure. Maximum speed 120 km/h. This is your speed. It can withstand 120 km/h. Now online. It's generally not recommended. There's also a 32 psi below. This is basically the recommended pressure for cold tires. Meaning of tire pressure. Generally, tires have their own recommendations. Selling prices also consider the difficulty of mounting and dismounting. If your vehicle has more complex devices, such as a rear disc version, or the cost of removing ABS, it will relatively increase a bit. The difference between front and rear tires, of course, also has the corresponding mounting and dismounting difficulties. Actually, most market prices range around 400, 800 or so, and correspondingly, like this. This video is really great. However, the coach needs to add 2 points. The first thing is to say, after a tire punctures, it will slowly deflate. During the slow deflation process, your vehicle will shake. It will wobble, especially when turning. Your vehicle will change angles. So at this time, the vehicle will feel a bit unstable. That is when the tire is losing air after it deflates. Of course, you need to find a tire shop to fix it, right? If the deflation is severe, don't drag it along, because dragging it will wear the tire. If worn too much, the tire won't be repairable. The entire tire will then be scrapped. Another thing about tire repair. He just talked about tire plugs. Tire plugs are a strip of, how to describe. Well, let's look at another section. Then we can understand what a tire plug is. In our car course, we talked about tire plugs. Let's see where it is. Here, number 8. Because our motorcycles do not have spare tires. Our motorcycles do not have spare tires. But previously motorcycles had spare tires. In the old Skoda exhaust cars, they had spare tires. If you have the chance to see a Vespa, that type of motorcycle, they had spare tires. Before they had spare tires, now they don't have spare tires. One image shows a puncture from a screw. And above, this is the tire plug. A plug strip is similar to something like a rubber soft strip-like to shove into that hole, into that puncture. Then put it. After the tool is pulled out, the puncture repair strip is attached to the tire. Under pressure, it fuses with the rubber, and the tire is patched. This method is quicker, like the one below. The inner tube is patched from the inside. It's because our whatever, bullshit glue, you know. You have to remove the entire tire, take off the rim and patch it from the inside. Which method is better? The puncture strip on top is simpler. It's cheaper, and the one below is more expensive, because you have to take the tire off. However, I recommend the students to use this method for patching tires. Don't use the puncture strips, because if you use the puncture strips, there will be a chance of air leakage. You may ride for a week, or even a month, and sometimes it will slowly deflate. So I suggest using the method below, patching from the inside. Alright, that's the tire section. Add some posture. Next, let's take a look at this. This is the one Michelin has launched. It doesn't require inflation. No air filling needed. A tire that doesn't need air when driving. Have you seen it? The latest airless tire developed by the French giant Michelin has been adopted by the French Postal Service. This new type of tire doesn't need to be inflated. Of course, it won't burst either. The Postal Service's delivery vehicle slowly drove out. At first glance, it looks just like a regular vehicle, but on closer inspection, the tires are hollow. This is Michelin's new product, the Optis tire. Michelin has been developing airless tires for several years. Now it has officially signed a contract with the French Postal Service. On the 27th, 3 postal trucks were the first to install and hit the road with Optis. It's expected that by 2024, around 40 postal vehicles will be equipped. It's a tire that has the characteristic of having no air. Alright, this is the new type of tire. Developed by Michelin in France. It actually feels pretty good. However, we need to use it for a while to truly see if it's practical. This is common with many products. Just designed, and it seems quite good. However, after using it for a while, you will encounter many issues you didn't expect. So when buying something, including a car, when purchasing a vehicle, it's the same. Don't rush to buy a newly released car. Let the market settle for a bit. Problems may arise after some time. You'll get some feedback, and then you will know whether this motorcycle or car is truly reliable. The design is good, but next, this is about bicycles. It's the same. They use padding, meaning they fill the inside of the tire, with something similar to foam. At this point, you don't need to inflate it, right? It's quite good, yes. However, still, it will take time to prove itself. Back in the 70s, we had the Inventors Exhibition in Taiwan. When hearing about the invention fair, everyone thought it was pretty good. True, those days were really interesting. However, not many people made money from the inventions. They were mostly trivial inventors. Once, there was a tire that I saw reported on TV, so I went to Taipei to take a look. At the expo, it was a motorcycle tire. They tried many iron nails on it. After pulling them out, surprisingly, the tire did not lose air. Quite strange, right? It was very strange. The coach was also puzzled as to how it was so amazing. We chatted a bit, because he was the owner of a motorcycle shop. Back then, many people rode motorcycles. Flat tires and crashes were common. Generally, there were bruises and injuries. But if you don't believe it, if a truck or a large vehicle comes from behind, it's over for them. So he got the idea. Tire hugging, crashing. If I had to guess, it's usually a black eye and bruises. But if you don't believe it, a truck or large vehicle is coming from behind. He's done for, so he had some sinister intentions. It's designed for this. The tire comes out. Its principle is to coat the inner side of the tire with a layer of silicone, coated with thick silicone. Then you stab it with a metal rod and pull it out. The silicone will seal the hole, plugging it up. So it won't deflate. The principle is quite good. But actually the feeling, in practice, is great. The problem is, why hasn't anyone seen it now? We need to understand one key point. Rubber and silicone are different entities. They can't completely blend together. Adhering to it is worth considering. Maybe when you first apply it, it can stick well. But after a while, it might peel off, and once it does, the tire will have an eccentric effect while rolling. It will wobble and not be stable. Plus, the cost is quite high. This is the coach's thought. Later, everyone hasn't seen this design on the market. This video talks about the motorcycle front and rear brake disc replacement timing. Let's take a look. Usually, how long is the lifespan of a tire? Lifespan, yes. So is that if in normal conditions? Around 7,000 to 8,000. What about front and rear tires? Which one is more prone to wear? The rear tire. What gets worn down? It will have tread wear on one side. What's being sprayed? Check if there's any tire edge or if it's leaking air. Enough. Haha, just checking like this. If it's leaking, what happens? It will bubble. Now we're changing the rear brake pads. How do we check? Looks like they need to be replaced. Check this distance. Oh. The distance becomes 0 when it's fully compressed, which means it's already worn down, only this length. And it's already compressed. It's tight. So its lifespan depends on your use. Everyone's usage situation. Like this. Scissors. Why turn back? Look at that rust climbing. So how much for the front and rear brakes? The total is 2,000, okay? Thank you. Speaking of costs, there might be some discrepancies. Okay, what we want to add is, as he mentioned earlier, the lifespan of brake pads relates to riding frequency. Naturally, the brake pad's lifespan depends on your usage rate. When we ride a motorcycle, it is about refueling. If there are situations in front, release the throttle. Originally, when releasing, it slows down, and then you won't even need to use the brakes. But if you ride too fast and follow the car in front too closely, if it brakes, it suddenly stops. You'll brake immediately. This makes the usage frequency high, so your brake pad's lifespan will be shorter. It's quite interesting, actually. Just like with animals, we know turtles have a long lifespan, right? But they move slowly. Moving slowly is the same. Riding a motorcycle or driving a car, it's not just about braking and accelerating. Braking should be done moderately. Releasing the throttle is important to remind everyone. Next, let's take a look. This is a car goods delivery from Hualien. A car front tire blew out, losing control, and had a fatal accident. Now let's watch closely. Was it a flat tire? Let's observe closely. I still didn't understand. I will in the future. Nonsense. Did you notice? Why did the accident happen? He raised his left hand. After gathering it, it looks like he's wearing a helmet. But then his right hand swayed. After swaying, he couldn't stabilize the vehicle. So let's remind all the students, absolutely don't ride a motorcycle with one hand. If today he had both hands. So we want to remind all the trainees here, absolutely never ride solo. If he today has both hands, still nothing, originally let go of both hands, still steady our vehicle. But what if you let go with one hand, plus a flat tire? He couldn't stabilize the vehicle, so he crashed. Next, let's take a look at the internal structure of the motorcycle. Internal structure. We can roughly understand it since time is limited. Okay, this is what the coach filmed on the motorcycle. A motorcycle which is fully disassembled. The exterior is fitted with some plastic casing. The U-box is generally placed here. This is the engine part. This is the other side. The other side filmed from the opposite side. The suspension system connects the vehicle and the wheels to reduce noise when driving, as well as bouncing and vibrations. This way, it would be safer and a bit more comfortable without this. Let me tell you, riding would feel quite odd. Okay, this is the engine part. The engine part, it's been dissected. He also mentioned the energy obtained from burning gasoline is converted into kinetic energy. Air filter. Why does the air need filtration? Because the air mixes with the gasoline. After mixing, it has to be injected into the combustion chamber for burning. So the air needs filtering, otherwise there are impurities in the air. Impurities that go into the cylinder will cause spraying, which can be quite troublesome. It must be filtered. Filtered, so if we frequently access construction sites, there will be dust. Therefore, this needs to be cleaned. This one is the same. See, no green fibers. Both cars and motorcycles have the same, just like wearing a mask. Just like how we humans wear masks. Next, automatic transmission. Automatic shift vehicles. So what's this brake lever? The brake lever is in front of the handlebar, tilts left and right. The left controls the rear wheel brake. The right controls the front wheel brake. The operation of the brake mechanism is through the brake lever to slow down the spinning of the wheels, allowing the vehicle to decelerate and stop. The automatic system slows down, first slow down, then brakes slowly. Next, let's look at shifting. Shifting means changing gears. Need to shift gears. A manual bike is different. There's the brake lever and the brake mechanism. The one below is the brake mechanism. On the right side of our handlebar, the right side controls our front wheel brake. The front wheel brake, then what about the left? The left controls the clutch. Oh, wait, we'll talk about that. Okay, the manual bike foot brake. And the brake mechanism. So that means for the manual bike, the right hand controls the front wheel. The right foot controls the rear wheel. The right foot brakes the rear wheel. So their operation modes are different. And where's the clutch lever? And where's the gear shift pedal? It's on our left. This left side lever. This lever is the clutch. When you shift gears, you first need to pull tight to stay power. When disengaging, you can then shift gears. We will talk about this later. Okay, shifting gears involves using the shifter. Using the shifter to push down or to pull up, that's the shifting part. This is the cooling device. It has a fan. When it spins, it drives the fan to dissipate heat. The engine generates heat continuously due to the combustion of gasoline, which constantly raises its temperature. If it gets too high, it will lose its function. So a cooling device is necessary. This cooling device is similar to a fan that can draw in cold air. He can suck in that cold air. So when riding a bike, you have to pay special attention to things like long skirts or lightweight wings to prevent them from getting caught. This is particularly important. All right, this is the front. Here is the cylinder. This is the fuel injection system. And the belt. The purpose of the belt is to drive the rear wheel. The entire structure is part of the gearbox mechanism. This is the shifting mechanism. In a moment, we will have an animation. Okay, as for the drive method, there is the belt-driven method. Like what we're currently seeing is a belt. So how is our bicycle powered? Our bicycle is powered by a chain. And the fuel injection system, the fuel makes the oil burn in the engine. How does it get in? Previously, it was through a carburetor. Now it's done with a spray method. The biggest difference is that the fuel injection system requires conditions to provide proper oil supply and control of the ignition angle, ensuring the engine gets optimal performance. Compared to carburetors, it's more environmentally friendly and reduces pollution. Additionally, it saves fuel consumption. So carburetors are no longer in use. Carburetors have become obsolete. The exhaust pipe is meant to expel gas, to release exhaust fumes. So why is there waste? Because the engine burns gasoline, producing exhaust that needs to be released. Just like us humans, we inhale. Breathe. Breathing in requires us to exhale. Yes, inhale and exhale. Actually, the principle is the same. Next, let's talk about electric vehicles. Electric vehicles skip the internal combustion engine. The internal combustion engine contains fuel systems, intake systems, exhaust systems, and ignition systems. Among its components, if we compare costs with fuel vehicles, there are significant differences. As for the battery and electric powertrain, they account for over 40% of the cost of electric vehicles. Next is the electric control motor, around 10% to 20%. In fact, home appliances focus on product design and improvements. Generally, many things are similar. After using them for a period of time, they will undergo improvements because drawbacks will emerge, thus leading to the development of electric vehicles. because they are more environmentally friendly and easier to produce. However, as of now, there is still room for improvement, because products are like this. Looking at it from a historical perspective, every product continues to change. Product design is always like that. The appearance of electric scooters looks exactly like gasoline vehicles. All of these are necessary components. As for what's inside the box, just install the battery. The internal structure of the scooter varies by brand, varies by model, and also has differences in the future. Here we see the display of the spare battery, main controller, motor, cooling system. This is a photo of the entire electric vehicle disassembled. This is the quality of the public version, basic vehicle operation. Power system. Let's take a look at the power system. First, let's talk about bicycles. In fact, when we put scooters and bicycles together and compare, it's just about getting both tires to spin. To make both tires rotate, we do it by pedaling. Pushing the bicycle pedal, that will make the scooter spin. To make the two tires rotate, it's done with what? With gasoline? How to turn gasoline into power. Let's take a look at this animation. So now the internet is very convenient. Let's look at this picture. Have you seen this animation? He writes 123 here. If it's 1, then it goes into form. Intake forms, and what about this intake? It's a mixture of oil and gas. Gasoline mixed with air. Enters into the cylinder. Let's take a look at 1. He can't stop, just take a breath. Compression, and after compression, it ignites. The second stroke is compression. Should reach the peak. After reaching the peak, then the third one, ignition, the spark plug ignites. When the spark plug ignites, it will produce, what? An explosion? When the explosion happens, it pushes down. Well, the explosion pushes down. Pushing down is how power is formed. Okay, after pushing down, the exhaust gas after combustion has to be expelled, right? Okay, let's continue to see. The explosive waste is expelled. 1 is the intake, and also the exhaust valve. The spark is over here. Then the tires move. Is this action similar to us pedaling a bicycle? Exactly the same. It's just that we let gasoline burn to produce this action. In terms of the engine system, what we just talked about means fuel burns inside the engine to produce power. That becomes an internal combustion engine. With an internal combustion engine, there's also an external combustion engine. So what is an external combustion engine? An external combustion engine is a steam locomotive. The steam locomotive burns coal to boil water, and after boiling, there's steam, and steam creates pressure. Pressure is the same. It pushes the piston. After the piston moves, it's just like before. Is it like that? The same principle applies to pedaling a bicycle. It's the same principle. A rotary engine, more like a rotary engine. That's what we talked about earlier. That torque is how power is formed. Okay, intake valve, exhaust valve. Spark plug. This area is called the combustion chamber. For the intake valve, it mixes air and gasoline. Together that is injected into the cylinder. This action is exactly the same as the action we talked about before. We won't drag this out. I'm not going to talk more because this is also an animation. That was also an animation earlier. Okay, this is the intake valve. Pulling down makes it intake. Pushing up compresses. Compressing to the peak creates explosive power. Then it pushes down. To make it move, we know we need human power. So what's there? Chemical energy is gasoline combustion, not motor. The motor produces rotational power. It's that simple. So we have electric vehicles. They also rotate. But the result is the same. Different methods, same result. Usually we can see cooling systems. Motorcycles also have cooling systems. One type is water-cooled, one type is air-cooled, one type is oil-cooled. Water cooling means circulating water or any liquid inside the cylinder, carrying away the waste heat produced by the engine with circulating water. Should say this way, universally cooling means water circulates inside the engine. Then it comes out as hot water. Through radiation, it turns back to cool water, then enters back into the engine, because the engine temperature cannot keep increasing. If it keeps rising, it will cause cylinder shrinkage. In motorcycles, it should be said that only motorcycles with larger cc will use it. Motorcycles with a larger cc will use that. Our motorcycles are generally unnecessary. Our regular motorcycles use air cooling. Air, naturally. Naturally, for heavy bikes that cool down. They use water cooling. Using water for heat dissipation. Air cooling means using air to cool naturally. Here, there is forced air. It can have a larger air volume. This is it. This fan will push air inside. Now, as we mentioned earlier, regarding riding attire, some girls wear long skirts, and they're the thin type. Summer dresses are very thin, so it can easily get caught up inside. So here, you need to pay a little attention. Generally, regular motorcycles, like the 125 models, all have air cooling or oil cooling. What is oil cooling? Just look, there's oil cooling. To let oil cool. Motorcycles also have engine oil inside. It just circulates engine oil through pipes let outside. Let air pass through to cool down, then flow back to the engine, achieving the cooling effect. Now, this cooling method is not prone to problems as long as the oil pump which circulates the oil is not damaged. The engine oil will flow out and then back through. So there won't be any issues. Okay, we just discussed 3 cooling methods. Next is the transmission method. We already talked about the transmission method. It's the belt. The primary function of the belt system is to transfer engine power according to road conditions and load factors to our tires, driving our wheels forward or slowing down. The chain system is for gear shifting. Generally, gear shifting uses a chain system. It's the same principle as our bicycles, using the chain to drive our rear wheel. Idle and acceleration. What is idle? Well, it means after starting the engine. Without pressing the throttle, that's idle revving. The speed increases once it accelerates. What kind of phenomenon occurs? Let's look at these 2 images. The top image shows idle operation. See that? The front disc is relatively small, and you can tell by the distance. Now here, it's accelerating. Acceleration, because in this structure, there will be centrifugal force pushing outward, so its diameter increases. The larger diameter pulls at the back, making it faster. Okay, let's observe starting the vehicle. First, it's in idle. It hasn't started moving the rear wheel yet. Now it's time to throttle. Have you all noticed? After throttling, the disc expands because there's a design inside. Through centrifugal force, when accelerating, the front diameter becomes larger, which then drives the rear wheel. This is the principle behind continuous variable transmission. Well, that was the principle of the gearbox. We'll see animation here. We watch it. This has an animation. There is an animation. Stop the vehicle. We just mentioned that. The front still has 2 handles on the left and right, but these are not brakes. The right front controls the front wheel. On the left side controls the clutch. The gear shifting part is on the left side, right here. On the right side, it's the foot brake. So your right foot and right hand both control the brake. The left hand and left foot control the gear shifting part. Let's discuss the principles of its transmission. Many students find that gear shifting stalls and feel that shifting is hard. So let's understand the principles of shifting. As for shifting gears, let's talk about its traditional principle, because many academies think that stalling a motorcycle, when it stalls, they feel rolling. It is very hard. So let's understand the principle of rolling. Power from the engine is transmitted through the rotation of both A and B. In your clutch's tight state, pressing the clutch tight will disengage it. That left handle, when pulled tight, will separate the clutch. The disc, if B's disc is spinning, then C will rotate. After it starts rotating, it will drive the tires through the chain. Next, this diagram shows the engine in operation. We're either revving or accelerating. When the candle is turned, The two clutches separate, right? So A is rotating due to their separation. The latter half of V won't move. Everyone thinks, at this moment, it's in neutral. That's good. Now let's release the clutch. Want to see when the gap opens, C will be rotating. Because it's in neutral. Thus, the low won't rotate, and the tires won't spin either. Gentlemen, look. It's rotating now. C is rotating, D is not moving. Can we? Of course not. If we continue recording like this, your gear will break. So at this moment, I must disengage and pull tight. After that, the power will disconnect. Disconnecting makes the gear slow down. At this moment, we can change gears. Make the gear shift. After performing the gear shift, releasing the clutch allows the vehicle to move. It starts moving, that's right. So why does it stall? Because when you release 127, you must release it slowly since the weight of the vehicle presses down. It can't pull instantly. If it can't pull instantly, it needs to be released slowly. Therefore, you need to release it slowly. Stalling can happen for two reasons. First, releasing the clutch too quickly, and also changing to the wrong gear. These two reasons can cause stalling. The principal structure of the transmission is like our bicycles. The big and small gears interact. When you release for the second time, your motorcycle engine will surge forward. So regarding the vehicle, to start the engine, the clutch must be tightly engaged. Pull tight so the power disconnects. Only then can you start the vehicle. Before watching this video, let's understand a bit first. Here is our left hand, which controls the clutch. When pulled tight, it disengages. When released, it engages. Wait a moment, the video will have the sound of revving, which tells us students that when starting, as you release the clutch, you should give a little throttle. This way the start won't stall and will be quicker. Let's listen to that sound. All right, this is the vehicle. Neutral is here. For first gear, you push it forward into first gear. For second gear, push it up. You will pass through neutral, but you need to apply a bit more force for second. If your force is too weak, it will return to neutral, then push up again. It seems like neutral, as if it hasn't gone in. So release a bit from the machine, no worries. Release. It went into third gear, push up again. It's still the same for fourth gear. Pushing down for back gear will be the same. Like this. You also need to release. That's your handle. Then release a bit more. It will jump in. This is the relationship between gears. Pushing down again, you'll get to 2. Then if you push down again, you will pass through neutral. Your force will go through neutral. So if you push a bit, you get neutral. And a little more neutral. If you raise it again, it's first gear. This is how it works. Look at first gear. All right, this is the introduction to our guest. Okay, just the same, you need to release it slowly. You need to slowly release your hand. Okay, it moved. Let's change to 2 images. Using the device, pull the device up. Get it ready. This is operating at a high level. What the coach just mentioned. When you start moving, you need to release slowly, and here we have 1, 2, 3. What does this mean? It's the action of releasing and moving away. Divide it into 10 equal parts. Split it into 10 sections. Exactly, we have 3 cars here. 1, 2, 3. As for car 1, it releases gas. When it reaches the 3rd section, it will pull your second car. At the 6th section, how about the 3rd car? At the 9th section. Each car's clutch contact point will be different. So you need to release it slowly and grasp it. Where is its point? If that's the case, it would be less likely to stall. Each car will have its differences. They are not completely the same. Regarding the braking system, this is the brake drum. Now let's take a look at the brake pads. This is called the brake lining. Brake lining. Disc brakes, in terms of motorcycles, front disc and rear drum. That's how disc brakes look. When you get in the car, it pushes the hydraulic pressure. The hydraulic pressure then pushes the piston. It tightens the brake disc, the stacked discs, and clamps them tightly. It shows the principle of the brake mechanism. Through Pascal's principle, the braking force is magnified. Via hydraulic, meaning the hydraulic pressure is transmitted out. It allows the caliper to clamp the disc, generating the braking force. This is its action. It's using hydraulic pressure. As for the traditional method, it uses steel cables. Steel cables for pulling. All right, let's talk about this a bit. Everyone can find a time to come in and searching for time relationships. The coach has set up the connection points, so you can click in and check. Then you'll know, oh, the diaphragm serves as the brake. What is the function of the stock market braking? It's one situation. Next, we also talked about ABS anti-lock braking. What is anti-lock braking? It prevents the wheels from locking through a computer. The computer controls the hydraulic points for brake application. If your wheels lock, the vehicle will easily skid. Control will be lost. Okay, there are two diagrams here. As seen without these two diagrams, the brake above doesn't have ABS tires. The tires without friction on the ground. That friction produces smoke. The key here is to avoid excessive braking. It can prevent the tires from locking. It can steadily bring the vehicle to a stop. The ABS and another kind is what's known as CVS, which links front and rear wheels. As long as either the left or the right brake is applied, it can simultaneously stop both front and rear wheels. It's a design, but there's a bounce factor. It operates only when speeds exceed 20. The other one is the same. The brake SB as a starter. This is also an improved version. Improved version traditional. Traditional CBS is improved version. These are all related to braking. YL. Because it's concerned about you speeding too fast. Designs are meant to prevent loss of control. And to make these designs keep your speed safer. Traditional CBS provides fixed braking force, which can easily lock the tires. Thus, the emergence of various improved versions of CBS as well as VCBS, SBS, and electric motorcycle manufacturers. They don't improve TBS, yes, right. During braking, it balances the vehicle and maintains its height. When braking, it can balance the body on the motorcycle. It's safety. We've talked so much about it. The brake system is only used when speed is high. Okay, let's watch this video. What's the difference? The system, as regulated by the Ministry of Transportation. In 2021, all new vehicles over 125cc must include it. Include ABS, but what is ABS? You know. There's a hole in the brake disc next to the tire. Just a hole. Don't think it's just for looks. Right, but actually, the point of ABS is related to this. Let's take a look at this comparison. Both examples show impact. Compared to not having ABS, it results in damage. Thus, this often leads to dangers like this. ABS is faster in response. But sometimes if you are nervous, hey, it gets stuck. Actually, the Ministry of Transportation's regulation starts from New Year's Day 2019. For vehicles over 125cc, all newly manufactured scooters must include ABS. Those under 125cc must have ABS, or CBS by 2021. Even older models must comply. But what is CBS currently? This electric scooter is equipped with CBS, which is essentially front and rear link brakes. It's about the concept of both wheels working together. However, new bikes are forced to be equipped with this system. Frankly, the cost comes from somewhere. Manufacturers will definitely increase prices, at least a difference of 10 to 15,000 compared to before. In fact, most new scooters launched now already come with ABS pre-installed. But some may wonder, if all scooters add ABS, sometimes this does not comply with standards. People feel that brakes may have gaps when they engage. If you happen to use a malfunctioning vehicle, it could break down in various ways. In the scooter industry, I don't recommend DIY installations. And routinely maintaining ABS is important too. Brake pads. And the oil should also be changed periodically. The introduction of new policies was met with skepticism from scooter owners. Future vehicle prices may become unaffordable. However, how to balance safety and cost? The government has already made the decision for you. This shows the difference between having it or not. But let's return to an old saying. If your speed is slow, you won't need these two systems. And then there's safety distance. If you're too close to the vehicle in front, You will need to use this system. In terms of simple vehicle maintenance, we just discussed in the first half of the video. Let's not go on and on about it. Let's look at this news report. From this news, what can we learn? Let's actually take a look. Originally, the toothed belt started to wear down. The wear is even more outrageous now. A whole row has been flattened. In fact, it's quite ordinary with friends, because the scooter just completed maintenance, and there were issues after less than 300 kilometers. The technician didn't catch it, which nearly led them to a fatal situation. The worst case is when it goes in just like this. Then it might get stuck, right? You feel it hits hard against your belt. After seeing this part of the news, there was a discussion about how to maintain the belt. Maintenance can only inspect the outer appearance for damages, look for fraying, or any cracking. It can't be maintained otherwise. This scooter is widely used. Many people often deal with belt issues. This suggests a design flaw in the scooter company's belts. If only yours breaks down but not others. Whose problem is that? That's your problem. Let's look at the belt. We could say it's a bit of a technical matter. This is the belt, and it has teeth like a gear. No way! No problem, so whose problem is it? It's your problem. Let's take a look at the belt. I would say just a little technique. This is the belt, and the belt looks like it has gears on it. No way. We draw circles. This is the belt of an electric vehicle. It has frayed edges. There is wear and frayed edges. How about this one below? This ruler has gone missing. It's like losing a tooth. With this kind of belt, where is its load-bearing capacity? Do you know? It's in the area marked in red. Load point, the load point of the belt. It's supposed to pull the car, that load point, is right in this red area. The motor of a fuel car. Its belt looks like this. Where is its load point? Its load point is on this surface marked in yellow. It's the entire surface. Not just a point. Why is that? Why does the gear in an electric car fall off? Because of the force when accelerating. It makes a difference even if you're heavy. Instant acceleration, quick start. It has to pull you. Does it need to be quick instantly? So, it causes that ceramic to lose all its teeth. It can't spin instantly. The load is heavier. As for this fuel type, it is the whole surface. The entire surface is bearing the load. It's not just the gear bearing the load. So, different designs will produce different results. So family thinks it's him. Bad habits when using the motorcycle. Sudden acceleration. At the intersection. Starting off, just accelerate hard. The city's power is great. It can easily collapse because it's made of rubber. Handling motorcycle anomalies. If there are abnormal situations while riding a motorcycle, you need to go in and out to a motorcycle shop for inspection or maintenance to avoid problems escalating, leading to repair costs. Here there's also a defensive driving manual. This is official information. We have a connection point here. You can also check it out, see what is actually discussed inside. Well, finally, motorcycles are an important means of transportation in our lives. So we must know the correct operation methods. Moreover, using such tools can endanger the safety of others as well as our own life, so it must be taken seriously. Well, today we conclude our course.